Okay, well, my next project here is going to be this rigid drill. It also, if you've seen my last video, this guy was also with the jigsaw. This is a rigid drill, battery operated drill, and I got extras of these, so I'm not as worried about it, but I still would like to try to recover it. This guy here is frozen solid up front. I can't get this off because it's rusted in. Just an oversight of leaving my tools in a wheelbarrow and not realizing they were in there under a tarp, and the wheelbarrow filled up with water. So again, I'm assuming, well, actually I believe that the wiring is okay in here. The only thing I think that's bad is that this thing here is rusted shut, so I'm going to pull this thing apart and see if I can break it free. Now, one of the most important things to make sure you have is the right tools in order to take these things apart. Right here I got a Torx 10 from my kit here. These kits aren't very expensive, so it's a handy thing to have around. So you're able to do whatever work you need to, instead of trying to use a Phillips head like some may try on some of these screws here. So now I'm going to go ahead and get my wrenches and take this thing apart and see what I can do. Okay, well, as I said earlier, having the right tools is really important. So having a Torx 10 screwdriver, as well as Torx 10 bits, depending on what you want to use. This one just happens to be a Craftsman. But when you use the right tools, excuse me, let me put this on a surface that you can actually see it. When you use the right tools, then things like this happen, and it comes apart a whole lot easier. I'm trying to do this with one hand, so it's a little bit more difficult. My wife was supposed to be out here filming, but she's not, and so I'm just trying to take it apart with one hand. But again, you can see that as you're using the right tools, that's a one-handed removal. Using the right tools, it comes apart pretty easily. So what we're looking for is, I know we've got some rust down in here, and you can see at the end over here we got some rust. So this shaft is most likely, I can't turn it at all, so it's most likely rusted right on through here. And so we'll try to take the rest of this apart, leaving this all intact so I don't mess with any of this, and see if we can break this free, get the bit out, and free up the rotor from the stator inside of here, and clean everything up and put it back together and see if we can get this thing working. Okay, well, one of the things I started on was this back bearing back here. It was froze up. You can see it spinning now. I took a little tap with a ball peen back into the ball peen here, and not very hard. Don't have to hit that very hard because you don't want to really rough that surface up at all. I lightly sprayed some Triflow into the back there, only on the bearing, nothing else, because you don't want to get it on top of that commutator there, around those brushes, because it'll really mess up how well this thing actually works. But now it wouldn't move at all back here, so now this guy here, the bearing is now freely spinning around. Got some rough spots there, but this thing doesn't run 24/7, so it should be just fine, and most of that should break down over time and run a lot better. Okay, well, I didn't really show some of this coming apart, but these pieces all come together and they actually separate. You have to pull the motor out a little bit this way, and then they'll separate out here normally without any screws. These pieces were all screwed. These other pieces were all screwed together. This here and this piece here, they were basically screwed together, and they just sit right on top of each other. You can see where the screws were, right here, here, and up top. So that was all the gearing. I took all the gearing out. So I could clean it up and make sure that all the stuff here would rotate, which it does. So I make sure all of that, and I greased it up a bit. I'm going to end up putting it back together again. Just got it upside down. flip it back over and put it in the right direction. Anyways, I'll come back and give you some more, but essentially this piece and the gears over here are separate, and the chuck apparently is separate as well, but I want to put it together before I try to separate the chuck off the drill. The chuck is still frozen up. These were frozen up from the rust. This front up here, bearing back here, and this bearing here were all froze up. So they're unfrozen now. So the motor here is free. So everything in here is free. Everything from here up is free. The only part that's not free currently is the chuck. Now the motor here is just like a strong magnet right here. So when you try to take this apart, the rotor on the inside here, right inside of there, will try to attach to it. So just keep that in position here, because it actually rides in the middle of that magnet, and as soon as you energize this, that magnet and the power going to these brushes in the back here, those brushes there, will actually energize and cause this to turn. Those turns will take that gear inside of here and cause all of this to spin. That high and low speed that you normally see on the top of these actually goes to that little wire there, and it just pops it, and what it's doing is it's actually moving the gearing further back and taking out some of the gears, removing some of the gears from being passed through to the front. So that's where your high and low speeds are coming from. It's a simple, just a simple little switch. Let me see if I can put it down, and hang on a second. That's what happens when I don't have help here. That right there. So that's actually pushing this gear in and out and moving these gears back and forth inside of this housing here, and either putting them in with the gears up front here, or removing them from the gears up front, which gives you the higher and lower speeds. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and put all of this back together. The ultimate thing I need to do is the one thing you always worried about is when you find a piece that you don't know where it goes. And Karen, all right, I'm giving you an update on this rigid drill, battery drill, 18-volt battery drill. There's one direction, there's the other direction. Everything's working on it except for the chuck up front. Now I should be able to get a chuck for it, a brand new chuck, but I'm going to try to free up the one that I have here and see if I can get that going. And the reason is that with the rigids here, you can register these, which this is, and which means that everything it's got a lifetime warranty on, so it can be replaced for free. And that's including the batteries. Now you gotta be careful with that is on the rigids. If you buy them with a pack like this that came with the ability to have a lifetime warranty, the battery came with it. So the battery itself with this guy here is covered. If you buy the battery alone or under some individual pricings, you just have a normal warranty. So paying attention when you're buying a rigid. If you want the lifetime warranty, make sure it's offered with the package that you're buying. So anyway, so up till now everything is operational in this guy here, with the exception of, like I said, the chuck, but we'll shortly have that corrected.